That is Newport Electric from London, Ontario, Canada. They are the Forest City Music Award winners for Best Rock Band, and they have a new single coming out called Bad Idea. It's a song about a bad idea, and there's probably a story behind that. We'll probably be talking to John about that, figuring out what that is. Um, but pretty cool artwork. I like the artwork for it, and I really like the vibe of the tune. And that was about 2 minutes of the track, and we're gonna feature new music as we go forward here in the next little while. We've got a lot of artists with a lot of new music coming out the next little while. Everybody is releasing songs single by single. That is getting everybody a lot more attention. Speaking of a lot more attention, I mean, we got a single out by a young lady by the name of Michelle Ryder, and it's getting lots and lots of attention. And there's a new single coming out. Sean's probably going to talk about it a little bit tonight. But we are going to be talking about digital marketing and the correlation between social media and digital music. So without further ado, my co-host with the most from the East Coast, the podcaster extraordinaire with the podcast Varsity with the Band Talk Rip Shots with Sean McKenna. Hey, buddy.
Hey, you sound right tinny.
I sound tinny?
Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
Like you're in a tin can.
I've never been told that before. It sounds okay here, but maybe it's, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
You know what? It could be our freaking internet. We've been experiencing problems with the internet. They were here a couple of days ago. I was supposed to get a gig up and a gig down, and I'm getting like 98 megabits. So it could be an internet glitchy thing. My audio sounds fine here, but let me just check and see if something is awry. Oh, I know why it's tinny. Shit.
It defaulted. How's that? Is that better?
There you go.
It defaulted to my camera microphone for all things.
There you go.
Tinny. Wow. All right, that's Bad Idea from Newport Electric. Did you like the vibe of that, man?
Very Blue Rodeo to me, which is kind of cool. I'm a huge Blue Rodeo fan. Kind of had that vibe. I thought it was great.
Yeah, they've been compared to Blue Rodeo. There are other bands that that I've compared them to as well in terms of that vibe. But that's a really great tune, and that's coming out on March the 8th. We got another great tune by our friend Brent Durner coming out. And of course, it's going to have another AI video attached to it.
We love Brent.
It is called Happily Never After.
He's always got those. It's like it's the play on words song titles. I love it.
Yeah, Happily Never After drops on March the 15th. And then we got another great tune by our friend Michelle Ryder that is dropping on April the 5th. It's called Lie to Me, Michelle Ryder.
Yeah, we're working on a fun reel for that too. We won't give away any secrets, but co-written with her and Mark Horton, and one of I think 4 that they've written that are just bangers. So I can't wait for everybody to hear that.
Yeah, it's definitely a great tune. I really love it. It's got a nice vibe to it, and I think it's going to do exponentially better. I mean, how are you do exponentially better than Let's Fly? I mean, Let's Fly has done really, really great.
That's that one there is I'll say it's a win because it was a song, as I understand it, that was written about 4 years ago that just never saw the light of day. And when I first heard it, I didn't want to touch it because it was, I guess, I can only say it as nicely as I can say it. It was super unmotivating when I heard it, just the whole overall what it was. And when it was redone, it kind of became what it is now. And it was a fun tune to play on. Mr. Jeff Hope not only produced it, but pretty much outside of what I did on it, he did everything.
Yeah, it's a great tune, and looking forward to watching its release take off just like the last one. So stay tuned on that one. So tonight we're going to talk some more about this correlation between social media and digital music sales.
And they are connected. There's no question.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection behind that and beside that. You know, there's a ton of articles that have been written about it. There's some that I may quote from tonight as we go forward. It has been postulated that Facebook alone, digital marketing your music on Facebook alone, can account for upwards of 38% of your digital music sales.
And it's interesting because we're gonna do a I guess a little plug to the Indie Tunes artists um, about using your social media and what have you. But it's always one of those things where people just for some reason feel the need to do everything on their own because they think if they pay somebody, it's bad. And sometimes it is bad. But I mean, you can only do so much in the run of a day. Trust me, I know. And you know, as somebody that's challenged with the calendar, I mean, I double book myself like you wouldn't believe. And to put one more thing into your repertoire that you're probably not great at, um, you need to figure it out, and certainly that is one key component to moving your music. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been nervous about releasing an artist's music. If they're looking for some sort of spectacular results from releasing their music, I'm always a bit reluctant to release it when they have a very small following. And I'm not talking about just a following, people that just like or follow you. I'm talking about engagement. And you and I've talked a lot about engagement.
Yeah, so you hit certain milestones on YouTube, like our channel. I'm not gonna lie, it took us a while to get it to um, what I would call significant numbers. Where we had really good views in terms of people were watching. We had a lot of um, videos on there, but the subscribers was the hardest part. When we got over that hump, I was able to take part in some of the YouTube tutorials, and basically the message is 25 engaged people is way better than 2,500 unengaged people or disengaged people because typically everybody knows. If you don't know, here's a quick little lesson. A view is basically somebody clicks on your video, and once they do that, that's a view. But if they back out, there's no viewable minutes, right? And what you're looking for to really become significant is to have those viewable minutes that you can rack up and show YouTube that you're an actual force of nature on social media.
Right. Now you've been a part of some of the YouTube tutorials, the online tutorials about engagement. What do they consider to be sort of like the median for engagement for watching?
Uh, so I mean, if you have a video that and there's different sort of analytics, but if you have a video that's say about 4 minutes long, anything over 35 or 40 seconds is considered engaged. Most people check out after 35, 40 seconds. It's not that they don't like the tune, it's just they're on to something else or something else pops up. A lot of our videos are a minute and a half to 2 minutes of a 4 minute video, which is great numbers. And they're not all like that. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, certain things resonate a little bit more. Um, but, anything over, I'm going to say 42 to 45% of the minutes versus how much they're watching is very, very good. That's about where we're sitting with some of our stuff on Barstools.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I think that most people are missing about this. Like, we talk about in terms of what we do here at the record label and what you're doing in terms of your work, and that's about trying to level the playing field for artists so that they have an equal chance to those that have the power of large record labels behind them, or perhaps other entities that are helping them to get their music out there, right?
Yeah, and like obviously we talk about Michael Brandvold a lot because he's been on the show a number of times, and he'll be on again. And it took me a long time. Michael would always say, "Don't get hung up on the views," and I would go on and see other people's videos and go, "Oh my gosh, they've got 5,000 more views than I have." But then I start to find out that people are buying views, and buying views is, you know, great to get your views up. But if they're just clicking on that and backing out, and say you got, I don't know, this is math that I can't do in my head, but if you get 10,000 views and each one is a second long, that's your minutes basically.
Yeah.
And that doesn't add up to a lot. It doesn't add up to what YouTube would consider useful for how they make money and share the wealth, right?
Well, and the thing that I look at for YouTube, because all of our socials are posted up on YouTube, I look at YouTube as another opportunity to pull people to our website, for them to interact with our website, for them to start looking at our social media, how well we're connected across various social media platforms. Um, and I think it's important when people are doing that surfing that they're looking deeper than that. So the engagement I'm looking for is, yeah, we want them to watch the videos, but we also want them to engage in our other platforms and our other social media involvement. Um, you know, Here's an opportunity. Now, social media has given independent artists an opportunity to access um, followers and engage followers, right? But they've got to work at that engagement. And 1,000 followers on Facebook is not enough to translate, and it should translate to your digital music sales, right? If you got 1,000 followers, then every time you release a song, it would follow that you would get at least 1,000 streams on your first release, at least 1,000 streams.
That would make sense, though it rarely never goes that way.
No, you're lucky if it's 1%.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that because again, you have people that, hey, go and subscribe, go and join. But beyond that, unless something comes up in the feed, and it's another funny thing too. Like people say, they talk about the algorithms, and absolutely that's a thing. But one of the things that I found through my personal, you know, thing that happened last week where my account was compromised. I asked my moderator Lisa Davis to put up a post on Barstools to say, hey, if you get a friend request from Sean, it's a new account. The other one's frozen for now, and accept it. And every single person almost that when I sent them one, is that really you? And so, that tells me, gee, these are some of my very good friends, right? Um, and again, the engagement piece, that's the hardest part of the whole thing
Bob
is
Minder's got a good comment there. Doesn't playing live actually drive your social media presence? What do you say to that one, Sean? You play
one
live all the time.
100% no. Unless somebody's at the show and they post a video or you're telling them from the stage and they might go on. I don't want to beat up or sound like I'm beating up on people, but people for the most part don't like to do anything that's extra work. And to sign up to something is a bit of work. To get signed up to a YouTube channel takes you about 20 seconds. And that's enough to repel people. Well, if that sounds sarcastic, it's not meant to be, but it's enough to deter people from doing it.
Here's an interesting thing. When we were down in Nashville last summer, the one thing that I noticed every band that played in the clubs down in Nashville, they had those I don't know what you call them. They're like a little marquee that pulls down, it's like a blind that pulls down, and it has information about the artist, and it
Yep.
has all their social links,
Yep.
right? So I took a shot of that when I found a band I liked, and next thing you know, I'm following them on Instagram, right?
Yep.
And now here's the part that I think people are really missing. And there are a lot of people are big on Facebook, and they're trying to get engagement on Facebook, but Instagram is really outstripping Facebook in terms of engagement. It's a different platform. It allows you to interact with your fans and your audience in all types of ways: stories, posts, threads, chat. You can even go on and do go on and do Q&As.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I've got an Instagram account. I haven't really attacked it as much as I should, because I was focused on YouTube, um, Facebook somewhat, but YouTube's been I guess, the thing that I've really been focusing on the last bit. My personal Instagram to me, I just find it very um, hard to. I don't. Hard to maneuver is not the right. I just for me, it's not as user friendly as I would like. I'm pretty meat and potatoes when it comes to that.
You need a Gen Zer like my daughter to run your Instagram account. She helps a lot of people with her Instagram accounts. She works with Lorraine Lewis and has helped Lorraine grow her Instagram account. Lorraine, like you, her old account got frozen. She had to start from square one,
Yep.
and they quickly amassed 10,000 followers, and it's engaged followers. And she does Q&As on her account, which is really cool because it's a great way to get interaction. Peter James has a really great comment here. Part of it is because we ask people to follow or like. You need a very solid product for most of those likes to be real, um, or buy their own device.
So that's my buddy Peter. Let me say, one of the best bass players you're ever going to hear. He's also, if you go and you follow him, he sells flies. He's a master fisherman down here. He makes his own flies and sells them. And he's got a new band that Michelle Ryder's going to be taking care of called Club Yachty, which is a yacht rock, basically show band. And that's a plug for Peter. You're welcome, sir. And he's bang on. He's bang on because it's a constant struggle to put interesting stuff up that's going to engage people, right? So it's like you can have Peter basically showing somebody how to cast properly and catch fish, and he gets 1,000 views, and then some girl burps the alphabet and she gets 24 million, and it's just you never know,
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't make sense when you've got a decent product and you're really trying to get it out there. I mean, one thing I find is that consistency is the biggest key, and I really think that it is to the benefit, and it's probably money well spent if an artist were to find an adept person to run some of their social media for them. Especially Instagram, because Peter makes a really great point. He said, like, for middle-aged people, Instagram is not intuitive.
Well, so I used to be on the board or committee of one of the biggest hockey tournaments in Canada. It's certainly the biggest one out east here, called the Sedma tournament. And they had always talked about, they got a new guy in there that was amazing at running social media, and they moved out Instagram, and they found, well, when I was there anyway, that a lot of their engagement went way up because it was the kids that were playing in the tournament.
Right.
But the parents would not go to Instagram, so they still had to run Facebook because that's where the parents were going to get the information on updates for the tournament, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you really have to, like you and I had the conversation last week, you got to have an X account. And I haven't been on Twitter/X in over a year, but I set one up, haven't done anything with it yet, but it's just another tool, right? Like everything can't be fixed with a Phillips screwdriver.
No, and X is X is more. I call X more a e-commerce type site. So it's an e-commerce platform. It's about networking and connecting with other businesses, perhaps connecting with other musicians, but most of all, connecting with radio. There's a lot of internet radio out there that put posts out on there, and they actually put, for lack of a better word, it's not an X, it's a tweet. But they call them posts now, that put posts out every time they're playing an artist's music. So some of the radio that I deal with, they put posts out every time they're playing our artist music. And when that happens, I get a notification that they're playing our artist music. Now, some of them actually send me an email, and you'll see me do screenshots and put them up on social media to let people know that we're getting regular radio play. It's really hard to keep up with it all because there's just so many. I'd be doing that constantly because I'm constantly getting emails saying we're playing your artist music, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, and I can't keep up to it. It's just so much. I wish I could just have a way that it just forwards out to social media, right, and flows out there so people can actually see the amount of activity that we're getting from internet radio. Some of the internet radio stations that I deal with now, I'm uploading Dropbox for them, and I'm like throwing folders with all the artist music in it because we're releasing so much new music. For me to do individual emails and send them out to all the radio stations that we're dealing with, that's a full-time job in itself. So I'm looking for ways to automate that, looking for ways to streamline that, and then also being able to make sure that I'm sending a write-up about the artist and I'm sending a write-up about the music itself, so that when they're plugging it on their show, they got something to say about the track.
Yeah, and again, I dirty little secret for me, I've got some people that help me post some stuff sometimes, right? Like I'll give them, here's 10 things that I'd like to see posted in the run of a day. And some people are like, man, you're on there all the time. Well, I'm not on there all the time because it's physically impossible for me to be on there all the time. And so to your point, yeah, if you can get help and somebody's willing to help you, if it's for a fee or for contra or whatever, definitely look at it because it's, I've been on so many calls with, between 9:30 and 11 a.m. is the best time to post it. Between 1 p.m. and just post, man.
Well, like, we were talking about this a little while ago about return on investment, and the return on investment, or what people call ROI, if you want to use an acronym for it, is that people are using these radio pluggers, and oh yeah, we're going to use a radio plugger, but what is that actually gaining you? Are you getting engagement of your music on various streaming and download platforms, or the places where your music lives? For example, if your music lives on your website, are people coming back to your website and interacting with your music and buying your music off your website? Are they buying it off your streaming platforms? In our case, it means real visits to our website. And what I call real visits, they're unique visitors. They're people that have never visited our website before.
Right? And stay and poke around.
We're not getting huge amounts. It was interesting because one of the artists on the label who's internet savvy, I gave him access to I've given two of them to the access to the website now, and he did some poking around the other day and got back to me. He goes, your website really could use some modernization, right? And I'm like, yeah, totally. because I'm not a jack of all. I'm a jack of all trades, but master of none,
Yeah.
right? And it's kind of like, if I had somebody that was come along and says, "Hey, I can really help you with your website," I'd be like, "Yeah, what can we do? We've got a lot of horsepower there. I just don't know how to harness it all and use it to our greatest benefit." You know.
Well, that's always the key. I don't think this is the first conversation about that topic that's taken place, and it won't be the last. Um, but again, it's like the Nike thing: just do it, and then you can always fix it as you go. I'm not a big like I've heard people say, "Oh, you've got to have this interesting site that does all this stuff," but it's like you can have the most interesting site in the world, and if there's nothing there to keep people on it, it doesn't matter. And I think, music is one of those things people are always looking to get into. I think independent music has never been as popular as it's been right now. Um, and I mean, look at the Indie Tunes YouTube page. Like that's had crazy growth in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, right? So,
It's had crazy growth. We're 1.3 thousand, subscribers now. So that's going well. Not getting the kind of engagement that I'm after, but there are people that are coming by. They're taking a look at what's up there. The most recent videos. I think the most recent video that we posted up there is by Visions of Morpheus. They're now on the label. Prog rock band from Oshawa, and we said this before. Like even tunes by prog rock bands, it is a niche market. Not everybody's into prog rock,
oh, absolutely. No, you're right. Not everybody is into prog rock.
but
Uh,
but
but
we got 6,100 views of that video.
well, and that's significant because most videos typically don't. And usually I'm going to be careful how I say this, but most videos will not get any more than 200 views sometimes, right?
Right.
Um, and there's different ways you can get views, and we won't talk about them here because it's not important. But that many views tells me that somebody is interested. Now it's to get the engagement, and
Right.
that's the key. One of the things about Barstools that was super frustrating before we hit that first benchmark of 1,000, and it took us a while. Like it took us a while. Um, our our views were really really up. Our visits were really really high. We had internet people coming to us wanting to work with us because they couldn't figure out how we had so much traffic and so many people watching, but we couldn't hit that first plateau. And then we figured it out. People like free stuff, and people don't like to work to get free stuff. And when I say it's 20 seconds, basically you have to have an account, set up account, sign in with your email address, and hit the subscribe button. It takes 20 seconds, but sometimes people won't do it, and so
Right.
it's a hindrance to try to get subscribers. That's just the facts.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because we're our site visits are up now because of some of the traffic on our social media, and that's the goal, is to get people to go and interact with our website, and we want to learn, get feedback from people about what they would like to see happen on the website. But the cool thing about it is that you can go to our website and you can listen to all of our artists' music for free. So unlike iTunes and other services that are out there where you get like a 60-second teaser or a 30-second teaser of the song, you can actually listen to the whole track. And if you like what you're hearing, buy it.
Right. And
You
it's
know?
it you know it that's that's definitely smart. The only thing that I've often wondered is that deterring people if they get it, they listen to it once, to actually take it on. And I don't think it is because you're seeing a lot of success on the streaming side of things, which is great. Um, I just think that where it's cumbersome to get people to actually, I mean, Facebook and the other, you click like, you click follow, you click whatever. It's a less than half a second thing. YouTube takes some work, and it takes a bit.
Yeah, I mean, we not only want return visitors, but we also want unique visitors to our website. Um, the goal of, you said people want things for free. So what else you're going to get for free when you can go there and you can listen to the tunes? The thing about it is that if you have a Spotify or an iTunes, or you belong to any other streaming platform, all of our artist music is on all those platforms plus our website. So if you're not attached to a streaming or download service, that's why you can download the song from our website. Another thing we're now doing is we're also uploading lyrics for the songs on our website. So if you want to be able to print off the lyrics and sing along with them, the lyrics are available off our website now too. So
So you know what's interesting about that is cool because everybody remembers the old vinyl album where you used to get the lyric sheets, and even in the CDs you used to get the lyric sheets. And I remember for years a couple Kiss tunes trying to figure out what the heck the lyrics were, and I could, then they introduce this new thing called Google, and you find it out. But people love that stuff, and it's not just me who's really simple and is looking for that Kiss sticker. They love that stuff, so it's very cool to be able to do that.
yeah, I mean, and when you add other things there, one of the things we're actually looking at doing now is setting up a gallery where you can actually print off the artist's artwork. So if you want to print it off on some cardstock or whatever to frame it and put up, because some of the artwork that we're getting for artists is very unique. Some of it's pretty cool. I'm going to show you something here in a second. Here, I'm digging it out while we're chatting. Just some of the things that we do. So here's let me see if I can find it here. There it is. And we'll share it on the screen in a second as soon as it opens up. So this is something I want to share. It's some artwork, and there it is right there.
Very cool.
That is off Helix's second album that I've pretty much remastered the whole album, and that is Women, Whiskey, and Sin. That was a side B to It's Too Late, and so this is some digital artwork that I'm creating for the releases of Helix work, and these are actually going to be made into playing cards.
Oh, that's cool! Great idea.
So eventually, you'll be able to buy a 52 card set of Helix. We're probably going to do 54 with the Jokers, and you'll be able to eventually buy a whole set of cards. Or we thought also about doing trading cards.
All that stuff is cool because people are always looking for that extra stuff, and the other thing too is when you're talking social media, which can translate into swag. Swag is not necessarily expensive. Like some people think, oh well, I remember going back, in the day our band would get T-shirts, and it was costing us $20 a T-shirt. Why you sell them for $25? Because it costs us 20 to make. You know what I mean? And
Right.
they're nowhere near that now. There's so much cool swag you can find if you look for it.
Yeah, another thing that is really, really neat too is that when people are creating very unique artwork, it's an opportunity again to connect with people on a different level. I mean, back in the day, you think about going into a store and picking up some vinyl, and there was always that attraction of the album cover that got you thinking about what was inside.
Oh my! Well, absolutely. And if I pulled one out here, I mean, some of the coolest ones, like Molly Hatchet, you had some of the coolest album covers ever,
Yep.
right? Iron Maiden, come on. I mean, Derek Smalls and some of that. Derek Smalls is the bass player from Spinal Tap, but they did this stuff, and it was so cool, and it translated to cool swag, and and not only that, you saw it. It didn't matter if you were into country or into pop or what. You knew who it was. You knew who it was just by the artwork.
Right. I think and some of the artwork would actually translate into some really cool T-shirts or hoodies or something like that. When you come up with a really decent piece of artwork, translating it to other medium. There you go, right there, a hat,
right?
A Kiss hat.
But that's based on the solo albums.
That's right.
Right. I
That's right.
saw that, and like any good Kiss fan that's out there, it doesn't matter what it is. You struggle because you don't want to give Gene and Paul any more money than you already have, but you got to grab it because it's cool, right?
So that's Newport Electric's latest artwork for their tune "Bad Idea."
Very cool.
I know, and so I'm looking at that, going, wouldn't that make a really really cool T-shirt?
It would, absolutely.
I think you could sell 100 T-shirts like that.
Well, and I mean, and I'm trying to find. I've got examples all around me that I can't reach for, but you know, that stuff. And when it translates to social media, I mean, like somebody sees it. So I did a shirt run. I think it was last year. I came up with my own logo, my own brand logo, which is like the skull. And a friend of mine, I can't even find it, but he did me a marionette of the skull. It's on one of my kick drums. I did a bunch of T-shirts, and I said if anybody wants one, let me know. And I had 20 people right out of the gate that wanted shirts, and that was before I even made one. And it's become this other thing that's been put on. I use it for a profile picture on something. So that stuff's very, very cool and very useful.
Yeah, put some real cool artwork up there, and before you know it, people are like, are you going to make a T-shirt out of that? You going to make a hoodie? You going to make a hat? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Blind Hand says adding the song lyrics is a super cool idea. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and that's something that we do on our website. We also publish that now globally on all of our artists' tracks going forward. I'm actually going backwards, and I'm actually printing out lyrics. It's very, very time consuming to do, and I'm trying to train a monkey to do this because it's the lyrics have to be in a certain chronological order and have to be laid out a certain way. Otherwise, the record stores will reject them. But they are available on all streaming platforms. And so now going forward, we're actually publishing lyrics for the songs. So artists, when you're submitting your music to us for an upload, we want the lyrics, and we want them in straightforward format. Not a lot of fancy stuff, no other stuff on there, just the lyrics and only the lyrics.
Very cool.
So some really cool things, that could be done. But in terms of marketing and promotion, social media is a major game changer. I cannot underscore that enough. And like I said, it's one thing to have 1,000 followers. It's a different thing to have 1,000 engaged followers.
There's no engagement. That's the key in everything. And I'll give you a quick little story. I told you this before we went on. I shot last Thursday night. I shot a piece for my Eastlink TV show, and it's in celebration of International Women's Day. So I had Nicole Belfontaine, who's got the #1 afternoon show here in Halifax. I asked her, and I asked Michelle Ryder, and I asked Trish Jardine, and I asked Steph Walsh, who did Michelle's video, and I asked a friend of mine, Teresa Blackburn, who's a promoter. So it's all women that are, making a living in the entertainment business. And the idea was Nicole was going to interview them, and that's a good one. Check it out. But what happened was I forgot about a guy that I was supposed to interview, and I get an email, blah 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 has joined your interview session. So I click on, and I'm in the spot. So it's like, okay, Drew, we got to do this on my phone. He's like, oh, I thought we were just going to chat. I'm like, no, I want to interview you for my podcast. So anyway, so we get it done, and I didn't see it, but Jason, my producer, posted today, and Drew posts this really nice, like, thank you, Sean, and he tags all this stuff and what a great experience it was. And this guy goes in the comments, Drew, give me a call. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Anyway, Drew sends me a message 10 minutes later, and most people recognize the name, but I'll say who it is for those who won't. He sends me a text. Les Warner just called me and says he wants to connect with you. Are you okay with that? Les Warner is I don't know if he's the original, but he's probably the most memorable, in my opinion, drummer from the Cult.
Right.
And he wants to come on the podcast, and he wants to also connect me with some of his circle. But it was cool. So it was networking, it was marketing, because when Jason puts something up, It's not a picture of this. It's a very well done screenshot of what you're going to see. And that piece led to a potential opportunity to talk to somebody very cool. So that's how easy it can be, um, if you're doing it.
Yeah, the cool thing that is really interesting about what we do, because the podcast is only a small part of what I do. Uh, I wanted to. I started this live podcast several years ago, and it was just me, and I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. And of course, we don't script anything that we do. You know that, Sean. It's all off the cuff,
Yeah,
and
I do.
and it's like two guys having a conversation about stuff that they're passionate about, which is the music industry and in terms of independent music. And the one thing that I really got thinking about was um, how much this has morphed over the last couple of years from what it was when it started, and where it's going, and the people that we connect with over time. So on March the 20th, here's a guy I reached out to. He is a machinist by day, but at night he's a front man for a Def Leppard, and Van Halen tribute. They do a lot of back to back shows. Play down in Florida. They play all over the U.S. His name's Jason Dozer, and he makes custom microphone stands for anybody and everybody that's a big name in the music industry.
Very cool.
So I'm sure he's going to have some great stories to tell us when we have him on the show on March the 20th. And how does a machinist find his way into the music industry, right?
Well, I mean, so social media is obviously a tool. I mean, remember back, I had a conversation with somebody the other day about, before social media, how did you do it? Well, newspaper ads or word of mouth or posters or there's tons of stories about those bands in LA in the 80s that were pay to play and they had to poster thousands of fences and walls and you name it to get people into their venues. Um, but social media has also almost made things a little too easy, um, for because I talk to some bands and they say, well, we do we put all the effort in and the venue doesn't, because they say our social medias are good or whatever, and so that kind of can be counterintuitive to what you're trying to make happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, the more that I sort of move around in this place I call my world of music, the more people that we meet. You're right now trying to confirm a date with Tommy London.
Yeah, I've had Tommy on the podcast before. He's a great guy. Like he's so he does more than just the radio thing. I mean, he's on every channel, I think, on Sirius XM. But super super nice guy. He's a singer in a band. Um, and one of the things you find out about these guys, if you're running a legit thing and you're talking to them, they're just people, right? They're just people, and if you don't get all fanny and talk to them like a professional, they're more than happy to interact with you.
Yeah, I mean, and we've already had some great interviews with Rick Emmett, who's agreed to be sort of a regular on the show. Michael, our friend Michael Brandvold, who's a regular on the show, comes on and gives everybody golden nuggets around digital marketing. I want to get Michael's take on some of this stuff as well. But the thing is that I find that it's interesting that people are not leveraging their advantage on social media, especially platforms like Instagram. Um, you know, YouTube is another one that, to me, to some degree, is underutilized. Everybody thinks about, oh, I got to get my YouTube channel monetized. I got to get my 1,000 subscribers and my watch hours and all that stuff, and sometimes, and YouTube has been doing it, they've been moving the goalposts on some of that stuff.
Yes, they have.
Just like Spotify's moving the goalposts on the number of streams it takes for you to start generating some income. But I think the real value of marketing is in what YouTube has to offer. YouTube, for example, like Instagram, YouTube offers cost-effective promotional strategies that can be tailored to suit any budget. And it's more accessible. Marketing has leveled the playing field for artists, allowing emerging talents to gain attention. So, same as TikTok, right? There was a comment made the other day. Somebody was telling me in a conversation, they said, I really think that the music industry, I think it was Tommy Lee that was quoted about this, that said that he really thinks that TikTok is going to put the nail in the coffin on the music industry, because the major record labels now are signing TikTok sensations instead of real talented artists.
Well, Tommy Lee would know. Anyway, not an ounce of sarcasm in that. I get what he's saying, because I can give you an example. My daughter, a number of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, did a 15-second TikTok video of her and her friend doing this little dance, and they posted it. And within 20 minutes, they had over 30,000 views on it, right? And I'm sitting there going, are you kidding me? But again, the biggest thing that I take from Michael Brandvold, and I tell people this all the time as it relates to YouTube, when somebody says to me, you should talk to so-and-so because they've got a huge channel, and you got to figure out that your content and what you're trying to do might not appeal to a certain group that you're trying to hit. So, for example, somebody I know has a YouTube channel, and it's about cars and painting cars. And well, you should talk to so-and-so, but I don't paint cars. I don't work on cars. So what's he going to tell me? Put my truck out there and videotape it from 15 different angles. I get the sentiment because they're having some success, but content-wise, it's not even the same thing. So I would listen to some of the ideas that he was coming up with to engage people, for sure. But I probably wouldn't have the same results, because what he's doing for content and what I'm doing for content are two different things. And so that, I think, is very important to temper your frustration level.
Yeah, I also think that, when we're talking about what we do on social media, there's a part of it that becomes this networking piece as well.
Oh, no question. So, and that's another topic, but people, they hear the word networking and they get nervous by it. And they don't understand that if you go to the grocery store and say hi to somebody in the lineup for checkout, that's networking. You're not asking for anything. You're saying hi. It's as simple as that. People equate it to an end result. And I mean, my whole life has been networking. Everything that I've done, everything I've been able to achieve. Some might say, big deal. It's not a whole lot. Well, be that as it may, if that's what they think, fine. Everything I've done in my life is networking. I live in a town where it doesn't matter where I go, I'll run into somebody that I know, that I went to school with, that I've done business with, that I've played music with. And you got to get past the whole end result and just go, hey, I'm just going to meet people and file it away for another time when, I just got a message from somebody that appeared, it's going to appear on the Eastlink thing. We were talking about that today in the last couple of days about the networking, where, at some point in time, if you're good to people, you're able to use your network, because they're not going to go, oh man, that Sean guy's calling me again. You know what I mean?
People you've sent me people as a result of our networking, and you networking with them and saying, hey, I know this guy that has a record label. Check him out, see what he's got, what he can offer you, and see if there's an opportunity to work together. I just got something here, and Dave, I am going to get back to you, but you sent me a lot of stuff here. I got to really check out. He sent me 3 different artists. He says, hi there. Name's Dave, and I hope this email finds you well. I'm a band manager for 3 Australian acts, and I found your label through Facebook. I'm interested in pitching my clients to you, but firstly would like to get a handle on what services and added value you would offer to them, please. Please find attached each act's EPK for you to peruse and get an idea what they're individually about, as well as links to their social music and socials. I'm more than happy to set up a Zoom call, blah, blah, blah. So you know what? That's exactly the kind of outreach that we're looking for people to, to reach out to us and say, hey, can you work with us? Yeah, I can, but man, I'm busier than one arm paper hanger right now.
I love that email though, because I automatically sense that that guy's working for his clients, because
Yeah,
he stated
definitely.
exactly what he was looking for. And and I get it too. Like, somebody will send you an email and it's kind of like me, and in the middle of it, you're trying to figure out how you can help me, but they never kind of get to the end result. Um, and because we've talked about it before, people want to talk about themselves more than anybody else. I totally get that. Um, but you've got to be, at some point, you got to be concise in how you want somebody to help you. So that's a
Definitely.
that's a
Definitely.
great email.
I mean, and yeah, I mean, am I looking for people to help me? Yes, I'm looking for people to help me. I'm looking for people who can understand the uploading process for our website. And we're actually, your friend Jason, and I know that we're looking for a backdoor solution for artists to be able to publish directly to our website. That's going to save us some steps and help automate things a little bit for us. But I'm also looking at assistance in terms of our global publishing. Global publishing can take up a great deal of time. And when you're prepping files and getting files ready, and you know how meticulous I am about this, Sean, right? Everything's got it, right?
The last single, I want to punch you in the face, but you were too far
Yeah.
away, so I couldn't do that.
I get triggered when that when stuff isn't there that needs to be there, because it's so important that all of that metadata is in there. And you want to talk about, you know, digital marketing and how your music can be, um, I guess, to your greatest benefit in terms of being able to collect all the royalties that are due to you. We want to make sure that every little piece of metadata, and we're actually even putting descriptors in now on every song, and we're also now, as part of our publishing process, publishing ISWCs, which is the actual registration number or the fingerprint for the actual written works themselves.
Absolutely. And, if I could just get back to networking for one quick second, because
Yes, do it. Do it.
so there's a radio station out here. It's a community radio station that does a top 30. And so every week, people will put the list out, and it'll be circled, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. And I placed here and vote for me. There was a band who placed fourth, and they're called Mahogany Hollow. And this was their post about it. Absolutely floored by this. The fact that this is listener driven is crazy. I don't know who's out there voting for us because we don't campaign for it, but thank you. In an increasingly competitive music world, this feels so good. All I've ever wanted to do is make music people enjoyed, regardless of financial gain. To me, this is success. Thanks to whoever is voting. And they didn't mention themselves once. And then other posts will go so far as to say, there's a lot of people on this list. They're putting it out there. Vote for whoever you see or whoever you might like. That resonates with people more than, hey, I wound up at number 4 and we're back on the list and vote for me. And it's just another small part of networking that engages people. And you know, it's stuff that takes a while. You got to figure it out. When you figure it out, good things can happen. But that's just something that hit me today when I saw that.
I think maybe, as we talk more about this whole business of utilizing social media to its max, and we're going to get into things like data and analytics. Um, I love data and analytics. Feed me that stuff, and I could, live off it all day long.
Well, and you
We
know
all,
what? And I used to feed you analytics so that I could like have you like get caught up in that, and then I could go off and not listen to Ken talk about analytics. Then I started getting into them, and they are mind blowing.
Well, and the thing is that for a guy that really wasn't into them before, when we first started doing this, you become more adept at them. And you've been teaching me a thing or two about the YouTube analytics, and that's been helping me take a look at, how we find more engagement using YouTube as just another platform to get engagement for the label and for the artists, but foremost for the artist, right? I mean, the label is always secondary. We always sort of, you know pull things back, and we try to make everything that we do about the artists and less about the label. The label is a secondary thing. The label is a platform that allows us to do it. But without the artist music, without the artist trusting us with their product, we don't have a product to push.
Well, that's absolutely true, and and the YouTube analytics. I like looking at the audience, right? Because that's you're sitting there and you're going like, okay, what's going on with my page? And a couple of things that floored me, and I was telling you this, Ken. I'm trying to figure out why the United States and Southeast Asia has more viewers on my channel the last 7 days than Canada does. And it's simply because there's some artists on there that are resonating with some people, and that's just not anything I'm doing on purpose. It's just how it's coming down the pipeline, right?
It's also a don't you think it's also population driven too?
Oh, there's no question. There's no question.
I mean,
But
U.S. has got a much bigger market of people. U.S. has, I think, U.S. and some other countries have emerging markets for independent music.
No question. And I mean, here's the other thing that it helped me do. So I was telling you, the last 28 days, my demographic was solely in the 45 to 50, 100%. And I'm going, oh my God, like that's a great demographic. I'm in that demographic, but I got to spread it out. So in the last 2 weeks, 25 to 34 is now over half of my demographic, and everything else is kind of spread out over that. And again, it's because some of the content was directed at some of that crowd. So these are the types of things that you can look at. I mean, the other one that I absolutely, the difficulty of building a YouTube channel. Watch time for subscribers in the last 28 days, 92.5% versus 7.5%. So 92.5 are not subscribed to my channel, but are the biggest bulk of my viewers.
Right.
Right. So they like what I'm doing, but they feel that it's too time consuming. There's too much to subscribing. So I have work to do there. So these are the things you can see when you deep dive into this, right?
Yeah, and mine's sort of the same thing. If we were to get the subscribers, that matched with the number of watch hours and the number of people that are watching our content, and people have commented and said, you guys have a an interesting YouTube channel because you got 236 videos up there. That's a lot of content.
Yep.
You got like 500.
I don't
videos,
think I'm
right?
quite the 500. I'm getting close.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm quite the 5, but I mean, here's the thing. If you break that down, I mean, I'll go at a pace where I'll do 4 interviews a week, and then I won't do any for 2 weeks. And it's just the luck of the draw and how things come in. But certainly throwing a lot of content at the wall, and there is a throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks kind of mentality. I've got 486 videos up there, and we're not quite 4 years old. So
right, we got a ton more of videos that we're going to be posting in the next little while. I've got stuff that dates back for other older releases, stuff that back in the day when we started doing things, artists said, no, we don't want you to put our stuff on your YouTube channel. We don't want our videos to live on your YouTube channel. We want it to live on our YouTube channel. And I'm like, okay. And you go back and you look at some of those YouTube channels now, and and you look at it and you go, they got 65 subscribers, right?
Yeah.
And we're sitting at 1.3 thousand subscribers. So who's going to get more chance to get your music out there in front of people than a channel that's gaining subscribers and is still growing? So I'm hoping that in the next month or two we double that number. But I think as we put content up there and we get people interacting with the content, but I'm looking at not just people looking at the content. I want people engaging and then going, oh, what else do these guys do? Oh, let's go check out their website. Let's go look at that as well. And there's another part of our website that's underutilized. Do you know that I could broadcast this show off my website?
Yep, 100%. Yep.
But I don't know whether I could link it up the same way as I could off of here and get it on all the platforms that we're broadcasting to. So that's always one of those little things you go, don't know, right?
Yeah, no, It's you know, and the other thing too is you get people that are oh well, he's doing it, so I can do it, right? And I won't say who, but I had somebody send me a great. If you go on my channel, you'll figure it out. There's a guy in the States that wanted to interview this one particular individual, and he decided to go with me. And this guy was like bashing me, saying, "Oh, what's that guy gonna do? He had Billy Sheehan, and he only got like you know like less than 1,000 views." Well, but my less than 1,000 views had almost the entire 20-minute talk watched. So great. Look at the
That's
1,000
right.
views there, smart guy. But my watch time was way up there. Anyway, I ended up getting I think close to 20,000 views or a little more on this particular interview. Plus the watch time was through the roof. And I can show that data to somebody that wants me to interview their artist and go, okay, well, don't get hung up in the views. Look at the watch time. And they're like, and that's why I get asked to interview some people because I can show them that. It's not that I'm
Yeah.
so great. It's,
No, and it's not. It's not, and it's because you have engaging content, and people are looking at that going, it's worth watching. So now you got people hanging around watching your content to the end, which is really, really a great thing because that's always a great way to get that kind of engagement that we're all after. Man, we could just talk about this for hours. I think next week we should continue this conversation and dive a little bit deeper into the world of networking.
I would love that. Or you know what we could do? We could videotape us looking at a click track for an hour and see how many viewers we get on that. That'd be fun. I'm kidding. Yeah, you know what? Networking is that'd be a great topic because I have a friend who he and I always competed with the whole networking thing, and he had a concept that he called reverse networking, where basically you don't really network, but you help somebody make a connection to somebody else,
Right.
And through the course of that, good things come to you, and it's definitely a concept that I know works. So we could talk about that as well.
Well, we're gonna have next week. We can talk about networking, and then of course Jason Dozer is joining us on the 20th. I'm gonna reach out to Michael and see what he's doing at the end of the month, and see if we could get him on the show on the 27th, and then get his take on this whole marketing and this whole idea of networking because he's the master at that stuff, right?
Yep.
So we're at the top of the hour. Want to thank you all for joining us this week. Come out and join us every Wednesday evening. I think next week, don't we have a time change coming up this weekend?
Yeah, we're what is it, spring forward?
Yes. We go ahead an hour this weekend. So next week you'll join us at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's supposed to be daylight savings. I don't know who's saving all the time. Do you know who's saving that time?
I don't know. It's probably some politician somewhere.
I think once we go back on daylight savings, we should just stay there.
Okay, sure.
In my mind, we'll stay there, but I don't think that the governments are ready to do it. But there's been talk about doing it, so maybe it'll happen. All right.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
This has been another episode of the Indie Show. We've been talking about how your social media interacts with your digital music sales. More to come next week as we talk about networking. My co-host has been my buddy Sean from the East Coast with the most, and we are going to be back next week. I'm Kenny from Indie Tunes Records, and you are not. This has been the Indie Show. Oh, and Sean, stick up your right hand, your right finger. There you go. There's a tip jar there. You can always support us there if you want. Click that tip jar. You can scan that QR code and drop some money in the tip jar. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great end of your week. We'll see you next week.